The Rock has become a lot more than the people's champion. However, there are many secrets that fans still don't know. Here are the 15 crazy things you didn't know about The Rock. 15. He was arrested 9 times before the age of 17. Dwayne Johnson had a rough go of it growing up in Hawaii. At 14, his family was evicted from their small apartment, and he turned to crime to make some fast cash. He was involved in a theft ring that targeted high-end tourist spots. The pain of being evicted and seeing his mother in tears fueled his desire to take action, any action, even if it wasn't always the right move. However, it was certainly a formative experience for young Johnson. After that, he decided to take control the only way he could, by improving his body. The successful men I knew of, Stallone, Arnold, Bruce Willis, they were men of action. It isn't often that your heroes become your peers. 14. His high school classmates thought he was a narc at the tender age of 16. Dwayne Johnson was already so far into puberty that he could effortlessly rock an old-school gangster look, complete with a pencil-thin mustache just above his lip. Not to mention the fact that he was already a stunning 6'4" and weighed 215 pounds. The high school picture circulated on Twitter until it was seen by Johnson himself. He tweeted, "I attended multiple high schools in 4 years. Hawaii, Nashville, and Pennsylvania. Everyone thought I was an undercover cop." True story. Ironically, it was the furthest thing from the truth. At the time, Dwayne Johnson was putting his manly looks to other uses, such as chilling in dive bars and hustling cars from hapless folks. 13. He has a degree in criminology. Although Dwayne Johnson had a few brushes with the law in his youth, he actually also holds a degree in criminology. He earned the degree and at the same time, played college football for the Miami Hurricanes as a defensive lineman. In 1995, he graduated from Miami University with a Bachelor of General Studies in Criminology and Physiology. Johnson, while obviously in a league of his own as a Hollywood actor, is clearly a triple threat of sorts. He has talent, charisma, and brains. We all know that The Rock never got to apply his degree to a career. However, it's fun to consider that he might have used some of that higher education know-how to craft his entertainingly antagonistic persona during his tenure on WWF. 12. He's a third-generation wrestler. It turns out that for the Johnson family, wrestling and superstardom is in their blood. His father was Rocky Solomon Johnson, the original Rock. Similarly, Dwayne Johnson's grandfather Peter Maivia was an NWA Hawaii heavyweight champ and made history with his partner Tony Atlas in 1983 when they became the first African American pair to win the World Tag Team Championship. However, it was Dwayne Johnson's father who instilled in his 10-year-old son an insane and unshakable work ethic. During their intensely rigorous wrestling training sessions, Rocky would say to his boy, "If you throw up, go outside, and if you want sympathy, go home to your mother, but either way you're gonna work your *** off to earn your respect." 11. He owns a private gym in a dangerous neighborhood. If you're familiar at all with The Rock, you know that there's probably not another person alive who's more of a gym junkie than he is. You could probably deduce that just by looking at him. In a profile for GQ, it was revealed that Dwayne Johnson owns a private gym situated in what writer Katie Weaver refers to as one of the worst top 10 locations I have ever been. In fact, The Rock insisted on driving her himself to the location, as the neighborhood was so dangerous. The gym is located in a warehouse district in California. It's quite surprising considering the fact that he could literally own a gym anywhere in the world. However, it makes sense if you look at it from a particular point of view. Every Superman needs his fortress of solitude. 10. He was paid $5.5 million for his first starring role. The Rock commanded such a hardcore fan base that for his cameo in the 2001 adventure movie The Mummy Returns, his first big screen role, he had enough power to parlay that goodwill into a starring role for the 2002 Mummy prequel spin-off The Scorpion King, where he earned $5.5 million. Compared to what he earns per flick today, it isn't much. However, it's without a doubt a hefty sum. So hefty, in fact, that he still retains the Guinness World Record for highest paycheck earned by an actor for the first starring role. The Scorpion King was ripped apart by critics and isn't remembered as even a fun trashy classic today. However, it was a key stepping stone for The Rock to become the Hollywood superstar he is today. 9 holds the record for most selfies taken. Not content with merely being the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, or the highest paid actor in the world, Dwayne Johnson is the kind of overachiever who also holds the Guinness World Records title for most selfies taken within a period of 3 minutes. During this time, he took a whopping 105 selfies with excited fans at the red carpet premiere of San Andreas. A Guinness World Records adjudicator was present at the premiere. Several selfies were disqualified, presumably because they were blurry and weren't fully viewable from the neck upward. However, 105 selfies inside of 3 minutes, especially in the chaotic and stimulating atmosphere of a red carpet premiere, is a gobsmacking achievement. It's a terrific shoulder workout, if nothing else. 8. The Rock was a heel. Rocky Maivia, later to be simply known as The Rock, had a less than stellar WWF debut in 1996. This was during a time of the Attitude Era, when the bad boy was celebrated in the ring. Young Rocky surely had the moves. However, the personality was lacking. It wasn't long before crowds were booing him despite the fact that he was a good guy. A couple years later, Rocky became The Rock, an arrogant and brash wrestler, the man who everyone loved to hate. The People's Champion was what he initially called himself in order to antagonize the crowd. 7. He eats 7 meals a day in order to maintain that superhuman physique. The Rock consumes a 10-pound mountain of food every day. Each day, he eats 7 meals. The meals consist of what you'd expect: broccoli, eggs, fish, potatoes, rice, and an assortment of other vegetables. The Rock is particularly fond of codfish, eating roughly 821 pounds of it per year. However, this unique diet is not just for fueling his strict workout regimen, but also to get through movie shoots, press tours, and whatever else he must go through. He averages around 5,000 calories a day, twice what the average man consumes per day. However, The Rock doesn't skimp out on cheat day either. On one cheat day, The Rock posted his cheat meal: 21 peanut butter brownies, 4 double dough pizzas, and a dozen pancakes. 6. He has struggled with depression. Dwayne Johnson went through a dark period when, at the age of 23, he was cut from the Canadian Football League team. He succumbed to depression, refusing to leave his parents' small apartment. The Rock opened up about this time on an episode of Oprah's Master Class. The Rock said, "I wish I had someone at that time who could just pull me aside and say, 'Hey, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You've just gotta remember to hold on to that fundamental quality of faith. Have faith, and on the other side of your pain is something good.'" Remarkably, he was later asked to rejoin the team. However, Johnson turned down the coach, feeling in his gut that something else was on the horizon. It was superstardom, of course. 5. His role as Hobbs in Fast and Furious was originally meant for Tommy Lee Jones. It's hard to believe that the Fast and Furious franchise could be the franchise of familial love if The Rock weren't cast in Fast 5. Yet that's exactly what nearly happened. According to Vin Diesel, a fan suggested the idea of introducing The Rock to the franchise. Although the role of FBI agent Luke Hobbs was originally written for Tommy Lee Jones, Diesel agreed that The Rock could really bring something special to the franchise, and he did. However, it's easy to see traces of Tommy Lee Jones' most famous role as U.S. Marshal Jones in The Fugitive in the script. Those traces are there beneath all of the baby oil, tattoos, and exaggerated but lovable machismo. We can't imagine Tommy Lee Jones hosting a cookout for the family, though. 4. He created the word "smackdown." One awesome word that the Merriam-Webster added to their dictionary in 2007 was smackdown. This just so happens to be the word that The Rock introduced to the world in 1997. To lay the smackdown on someone is to unequivocally beat them in any context. It was a word born of necessity. Smacking an opponent into the dirt wouldn't cover the severity of The Rock's punishments, both verbal and physical. Neither would "taking him down" seem to be a sufficient enough phrase to convey the awesomeness of his particular brand of butt-kicking. However, combining both phrases to create the ultimate smackdown just about covers it. Of course, the word would go on to take a life of its own, as it later became the name of a WWF, WWE show that aired on Friday nights. 3. He hosted Saturday Night Live in 2000. The Rock hosting Saturday Night Live in 2000 arguably helped to catapult him to mainstream success and turn him into the celebrity he is today. In 2000, he was only famous for being a WWF wrestler. He was unproven in other areas of entertainment, so this was a real gamble on the part of SNL. However, it was such a successful debut that The Rock was asked back to host multiple times. Indeed, he holds the rarest of distinctions. He is the only athlete to be part of the Five-Timers Club. He's in good company there with Tom Hanks, Steve Martin, and Paul Simon. Looking back on his sketches, particularly Morning Latte, it's plain to see hints of The Rock's off-the-charts charisma that would go on to serve him, and multiple movie franchises, well. 2. He introduced the Xbox with Bill Gates in the mid-2001. The Rock introduced the newest Microsoft gaming console, the Xbox, with Bill Gates. Remember the first Xbox with its chunky controller? The Rock introduced it. It was a cute bit. Both Gates and The Rock flatter each other and make for a solid duo. The Rock, brash and charismatic, Bill Gates, meek and nerdy, also extol the virtues of the Xbox machine. Weaponizing his trademark charisma, The Rock says, "The Xbox is everything The Rock is, cutting-edge, powerful, exhilarating. And like The Rock, it will be the most electrifying thing coming out this year." All the classic rockisms are present and accounted for in the brief video, including a classic, "It doesn't matter what you think." The Rock also constantly speaks in the third person. 1. He had a cameo on Star Trek, Voyager. The year 2000 was clearly decisive for The Rock's career. Not only did he host SNL, he also made a cameo in the Star Trek, Voyager episode Sunkatse, as the champion, a gladiatorial contender. At the time, WWF SmackDown and Voyager both aired on UPN, so a crossover of sorts made sense. The champion bears a striking resemblance to The Rock, and not just in terms of his appearance. One of his finishing moves is the People's Elbow, and he often made a very Rock-like gesture in the form of the People's Eyebrow. Of course, The Rock performed his own stunts on the show. The episode drew 4.1 million viewers, which was a season high. Everybody wanted to smell what The Rock was cooking, whether they be Star Trek fan or not. Can you think of any other interesting facts about The Rock? Sound off in the comments.